Hey viewers, my name's Cara. Today I want to give you a tour of my new website. We're also going to talk about the course that I'm currently promoting that registration is open for. You can see it up here at the top, but I want to go through some of the pages to, like I said, give you a tour, give you an idea of what's there, and then of course it's linked in the description now so you can peruse at will. Some of this I will read to you, some of it I'm going to skip because there is a lot of stuff on here and I designed it that way. In some places you'll see there are options. If you want to read more, like me, I love to read every single word that somebody has put on a page about anything. You probably know that about me. You can do that. And for those of you who like to just skim and get the basic information, there are also places where you don't have to see as many words. So when you first come to my website, which is caramiawitch.com, this is what you see. This is my homepage. Cara Mia Witchery. The banner image here is a photo that I took of the moon earlier this year. It's also what I have currently above and below my face cam for this, just to create a little nicer frame. So up at the top here, I have a banner that I can change for various things. Right now, it is advertising the 9 Moons 3-month supported video course, which we'll talk more about later, but you can find it right there up at the top. We've got tabs here for the home page, which I put the earth, because the earth is my home, the about page, my offerings, which when you hover over brings up card readings and classes and workshops. And if you go further into that, that's where you'll see that 9 Moons page. And then we have a links page. I used to use a page on my blog for that, so now I've just made a prettier page here for the same thing. But let's look at the home page first. So as we scroll down, we have a little intro from me. We have just like a bio, and there's a picture of me with a giant maple leaf. I took that picture some years ago now. You'll see that has my old glasses, but I love that photo. I use it a lot of places. Pronunciation of my name, Cara Mia. This is sort of 5 points from me and my practice, my personal 5 points. History, practice, connection, education, activism. From here, it also links to my About page and the Offerings page. This is the old photo, this here with Cute Witch 772 with a cauldron, or really it's a large cooking pot, which that is what a cauldron is, full of crystals and jewelry surrounded by candles. This is from one of the first rituals that I ever did with people when I was like 12 years old, and I made it into this graphic for my main YouTube channel, which you're watching this video on. Hi. This is the photo that I have used for it forever. I'm not using that photo in as many places now, but I still love it, so I wanted to put it there. Then there's just a little thing with my socials. Then I have a banner asking, would you be interested in getting regular email updates? I don't have a mailing list yet, but this section and a couple other places on the page have this. This is an interest form. If you would be interested in getting emails from me, being on an email list, fill out this form on the website to let me know that. If your answer is no thanks, I'm good with the amount of notifications that I already get from following you in other places, then your job is easy. You don't fill out the form. The form is not for if your answer is no. Only if your answer is yes, I would be interested in email updates, there is a form for you to tell me some more specifics about that. Then I have a little feature from each of my YouTube channels. I want to update this feature, I think, but right now the main channel featured one is the Breaking My Own Rules video from earlier this year. And my second channel, which is Cara Mia Witch, that is primarily used for games right now, and so the featured video I have there is when I went through the new tarot card art in the Sims 4 Life and Death expansion pack that came out last year around Halloween 2024. If you're a tarot nerd or a Sims nerd or both, I think you might appreciate this video. It's definitely a crossover that I love personally, so that is my featured video there. Oh look, I didn't know you could do that. You can hover over and subscribe right here from that spot. That's awesome. Little pride flag. Then I have a little feature about the Woodland, which is the new name for my Discord community that is for my Patreon and Ko-fi supporters. It used to just be Patreon that you could be a monthly supporter, so I just referred to it as my Patreon server. But now it's Patreon or Ko-fi, and you can join the same server through being a monthly supporter at either of those. And I got tired of saying my Patreon and Ko-fi server, and it just didn't feel like enough significance to just say like my supporters server. Like that was also just like weird to say, so I gave it a name. Woodland is part of my magic name that I don't really use it publicly, but it is part of it. The woods have always been a big part of my spirituality, of where I grew up, and so it felt like a nice name for this place that is like supportive community, fun stuff. And I have a separate server for if you are part of any of my classes or courses, which we'll talk about when we get to that course, but that one is called the Cute Witch Cauldron, at least for now. So you can join the Woodland, or you can join the Cauldron, or you can be in both. They are separate spaces. Then I have this photo that a friend of mine took of me when we were in England in 2012. This is me at Glastonbury Tour in 2012. I am eating an apple on the Isle of Apples. And this is a quote from something that I originally put in my Instagram story several years back, and I've been saying it ever since. I very much believe it. Magic is about creating change. If you don't want change, you don't do magic. I was inspired by one of my friend's websites where she had a quote of something that she said about her business featured on her page, and I thought, that's awesome, and I want to do that. I was very inspired by a lot of my friends' business websites when I was creating this. So thank you to all of my friends for having awesome websites that I could poke around at and get ideas from. So then, this is a funny thing that came up recently. Some folks have started asking me if I'm still an affiliate with Glad Rags, and I am. And so I added this section to the new website so that you can use my affiliate links to make a purchase. I get a little kickback from that, no additional cost to you. So there's more information here about Glad Rags and some of my favorite links that go right to specific pages. And then after I did this, I just got an email from Glad Rags telling me that they're about to transfer over to a different affiliate platform website situation, asking if I want to remain as an affiliate. So I told them yes, and actually that's such funny timing because I just put this whole nice thing on my website. And it's here, and it's also on my links page, I believe, but it's on the home page as one of the many things. And that brings us down to the footer, where you've got some quick links over here on the left to the main pages in the Find Your Way section. We have a link to my blog, which I don't have that up in the top bar. Maybe I should. I don't know. Let me know if you think I should add it up there, but I have it down here in the footer. There's also another link to the 9 Moons course registration page, some pictures. Again, places to follow me. Would you be interested in regular email updates? That form is down here. And then I just have the last updated, which, yeah, I think that's still true. I don't think I've added any significant changes in September. Maybe I have. Maybe I'll update that. It should probably say September 2025. And then again, my name, pronunciation, my pronouns. I use they, them, and she, her pronouns, but they are in that order of preference for me. If you are someone who knows me and is mindful about using people's pronouns, I prefer they, them. So that's the homepage. If we then click to About, Who's This Witch? We've got some more fun photos. This is also an older photo that I love that I've been using all around the place. I have my name pronunciation like phonetically in multiple places. Do you notice this? I'm trying to help people out here. So again, here's my bio, kind of a more formal bio here. I feel like most people who find this website or who are actively going to look for the website are people who watch this channel or people who know me through my reclaiming communities, so you already kind of know me. But on the off chance that people don't know me, there's a bunch of ways to figure out some more information. Here's a big general note. I'm an intersectional feminist, anti-racist, queer, trans-affirming, accessibility-minded, trauma-informed, neurodiverse, vegan, pagan witch. No, I do not identify that way. Every time I meet someone, that would be kind of absurd. Again, it is specifically for people to get a sense of my lens, and I've linked here to this post on my Instagram that I made some years ago. Then I have this little note here that is within the bio that I use. It's not up here, but it is in the bio that I use with classes and stuff like that. And I think it might be in one of these things down here, but I wanted to pull it out specifically. This is the main part of my bio that I change periodically. My personal work presently focuses on, currently it says, personal growth, deepening devotion, tending community, connection with the land, and working toward a sustainable body of work to support me in my everyday survival within capitalism. That is the stuff that I'm really focused on right now. I think previously it just said personal growth, deepening devotion, and tending community, and I've added connection with the land and working toward a sustainable body of work. As of like this year, those are big themes for me. Not new, but you know, more of a focus this year than last year. Then we've got these sections that I love. This makes me feel like I have my own Wikipedia page. You can expand these to read more about my path, my work, and some fun facts. So it gives you a little bit of a summary of what's in here. So the My Path section talks about pagan, witch, reclaiming, what magic means to me, how I got started, and where I am now. And then you can expand it to read a bunch more about all of that stuff. Oh my gosh, there's so much in here. So yeah, and then you click that again to collapse that part. My work has what I do, why I do it, and how you can work with me. See also the offerings page, expand to read more. What I do. Over the years, my work has manifested in several ways. Here's a big long list, including things like making video and blog content about modern paganism and witchcraft, co-founding a collaborative pagan channel on YouTube in 2009, which was active until 2022, speaking at pagan pride events, etc. Why I do it? There's more stuff about that. I do this for a lot of reasons, including the number one right there. I absolutely love talking about modern witchcraft and paganism. In case you couldn't tell, it's kind of my thing. I happen to be a person who loves to read, research, and do all that nerdy stuff. Not everybody likes that or can engage in the same way, but they still want to learn. I like to be a bridge for that learning, bringing information to people in a more personalized and accessible way. In many ways, I still do this for the solitary witch I used to be. And this last one, creating and tending community, is really important to me as someone who didn't have like-minded spiritual community for many years. I was really trying to think back to why did I start doing this, and therefore why am I still motivated to continue? All these years later, even though it looks very different for me now, and I've been talking about that more in recent videos, I still do it. Why? So really getting into that here. And then how you can work with me, links to the offerings page, my channel on YouTube, Instagram, Patreon, and Ko-fi, etc. And then fun facts, an assortment of things that you might like to know. Again, there's a bunch of stuff here, from the fact that I have a BA in theater arts and have done musical theater. I don't usually sing on YouTube because of copyright claim issues. I love Halloween and rainbows. My favorite witchy movies are Practical Magic and The Craft, and the TV show Charmed had a big influence on my practice. My favorite video games, and check out my second channel, when I started my cartomancy journey, Oracle and Tarot. A bunch of stuff. So that's what I was saying when I said, like, you can choose to read a lot of words, or you can not. It's up to you. The next little feature here, some responses I've given to, so what do you do? I teach witchcraft. I design and lead rituals for modern pagans working for social justice. I help witchcraft seekers find their own path within the wide-ranging realm of modern paganism. I talk for a living, or I'm a content creator, or whatever I want. Those are all actual ways that I have answered that question. It is very situation dependent. I really like saying I talk for a living. I kind of do. And then here's my 5 points again. Here is a beautiful picture that my partner took of me with another quote that has been very important to me in my practice over the last few years. Take your time, make your magic. And that brings us back to the footer. So the next thing is the offerings page. This is the shortest page in itself because it then links you to the other things. So we have card readings, which are asynchronous only for now, my classes and workshops, and then eventually I'd like to get back to offering live chats. I just started doing that in the past few years, and my technology, my Wi-Fi situation, bandwidth, what's going on with my video calling services has been incredibly variable over the last few years. So I thought I was going to be able to do more of that. Technology is what it is. I'm working around it whenever I can. So right now I have not worked live chats back into my schedule and my abilities, but I still have it there because I do plan to do them again. But for now, if you go to card readings or classes and workshops, you will find the big old page of cartomancy, readings, tarot, and oracle. I am currently working on a goal of doing 100 new individual readings for folks. I did 4 in the first week that I set this goal and first started talking about it. As of the time that I'm recording this, I am all caught up on readings, so you can get some. I try to have them back to you within a week to 2 weeks. It depends on how many of them I have to do at one time and what else is going on, if I'm teaching classes, if I'm traveling. So I try to give it that wide window. And I will also try to close down the shop at times when I'm going to be away for a week doing something, and so an entire week is just not going to be part of the equation. But I am getting back into the swing of doing this. So here are some notes from my past and recurring queerance. I went through this the last week or so, and so I definitely updated this in September. I need to fix the footer. But some of these are quotes that I had on my blog before to kind of give you an impression of what past recipients of my readings thought, and I went through and I retyped them. I think that the font is more visually accessible now. I think it's more legible, and all of these also do have alt text on them. So screen readers should be able to access the text that's on these graphics as well. Here's my little disclaimer. These are spiritual in nature. I am not the authority on your life, etc., etc. My cartomancy philosophy section has another expand to read more situation, but the main bullet points here are that I believe anyone can receive and interpret messages from the universe. My readings are not predictive or telling the future. I will not tell you the date that something specifically will happen. Some people offer those services, I do not. The cards that come up for me may not be the cards that come up for you. I very much believe that it is dependent on the person interpreting them. I'm a queer reader, and some of this is actually slightly further below on the page, so I will read it in a minute. And the last one here is I'm a reader who has studied tarot history and symbolism, who takes into account the framework of the deck creators, and who also ultimately reads intuitively, and I do not buy into the idea that it has to be one or the other. So again, you can expand these things and read a little bit more of my explanation of these things. This is a note about what types of cartomancy I currently offer. I don't offer Lenormand readings, for example, because I'm only just learning that system. And then here's the queer reader note again. I have previously posted this on my Instagram stories. That's where I originally wrote it, and I kept it because it was helpful. I wanted to be able to show it other places. I am a queer reader. I don't assume cis-het monogamy as the norm. I'm happy to read for any identity or expression. It's okay if you're not queer, but you should know that I'm queer, trans, poly, and kink friendly, and I will likely utter the phrase fuck the binary at least once. And then right here below is where you book a reading. Again, the video call live ones are not available at the moment, but I wanted to leave it there to let people know that is something that I've done, and I will bring them back at some point in the future. That is a goal. But right now it's readings by email. And I made these little graphics. Aren't they cute? I made them in Paint. I'm especially really proud of like the cursor on this one because it was just the envelope, and I thought, I don't know, it's missing something. It needs a little something more to be like email. So I added the cursor. I'm very happy with it. And then on this page, the keywords are study and intuition and history and symbolism. And then another little disclaimer. I am not a medical, legal, or psychiatric professional, etc. I'm going to skip the classes and workshops page for now and go to links because we're going to end by talking about the course. On my links page, you will see my 2 YouTube channels linked first and foremost. And then everything else is in smaller sections. It will also appear differently. It should scale for you on a mobile device, a tablet, or a desktop. But we've got a link to where you can get a reading at my Ko-fi shop and also a link to the readings page. So these are actually 2 different links here. So you can read more about it here on the website or go straight to the Ko-fi shop to get a reading. The 9 Moons course is linked here as well. Patreon, Ko-fi, my blog is linked here, Instagram, and the podcast that I mentioned in my previous video that I am the content editor for. There's no content for it yet. I'm still in the editing process, but you can go and support now in advance if you want. I'll be talking more about it as it gets closer to release time. But this has been a long time coming. There's my 5 points again, there's my Glad Rags information again, and then the footer. So now let's go to classes and workshops. Classes, workshops, presentations, and other offerings. This header image is photos of me from various in-person presentations that I've given. The 2 on the ends are from Pagan Pride events in Ohio, which is where I am from. And the one in the middle is from Paganicon 2022. Upcoming classes and workshops with me, the 9 Moons course, registration is now open. Elements of Magic and other Reclaiming core classes. So the stuff with me is non-reclaiming, like just with me. This stuff is co-facilitated. Reclaiming core classes are co-facilitated, meaning that I would always be working with at least one other facilitator, and they are kind of more specific things. And I do these in person or online, but there is an introductory one. The Elements of Magic is an introductory thing that you have to have done before you can go on to doing the other ones. So I am currently planning an online Elements of Magic for 2026. So those of you who might be interested in taking that introductory reclaiming class with me, there will be an opportunity for you to do so in the coming year. And I'd love to try to offer that at least once a year so that it can be more available to those of you who are in my wider audience, but maybe not in Reclaiming. You don't have to be part of Reclaiming Tradition to do it. It is an introductory class about the elements and the foundational elements of magic and creating ritual at large. So whatever your pagan path might be, whatever your witchy path might be, it can be of use to you. You don't have to be a Reclaiming person. But we will be operating within Reclaiming community guidelines and values during those classes. My past Reclaiming teaching is another expand to learn more. I do keep these specific locations private for safety reasons, but this will give you a little bit of an idea of some of the other teaching that I've done. And I have some photos here of me presenting at different places or other places that I've done classes. And then presentations down here, and I have the same photo of me at Glastonbury Tour with the quote at the bottom. My presentations. Okay, so this is mostly future projects. I'm in the process of turning some of my past in-person presentations into a video format that can be experienced asynchronously. If you are already a supporter in the Woodland through Patreon or Ko-fi, you will very likely receive some of those things as included with those memberships. But I will also make some of them available for somebody to purchase, for example, a recording of one of my presentations that you can just get that as a one-off thing too. So some of them, not all of them, depends, not sure. They're still kind of in the future. But again, expand to read more. Here's an idea of some past presentations that I've given, some of which I would love to turn into this asynchronous, watch it on your own time type of thing. So last but not least, let's click on the 9 Moons course link. So if you have made it this far in the video, we're here for this. There will also be timestamps in the description so people can skip to this part. I spent so much time on this. Thank you so much for being here along the way, listening to me tell you about it all. I really appreciate people going and looking at it, just checking out the page, because lots of hours went into it, lots of love, lots of attention. I'm just pumped to finally be showing it to people because I started it 2 years ago and then I was like, oh, fretting over it for so long. And now it's finally out there. You can finally see it and I'm so excited. So 9 Moons, meeting the moon where you are in the moment. 9 Moons is a 3-month supported video course to help you adapt your magic to the moment when you actually need it and will actually do it. We're going to talk a little bit about what the hell I mean by that. Starts in October 2025. Here's the basic information that you would need to know, want to know up front before you even keep going. Cost is here, sliding scale. It spans 3 months. There will be 9 videos, one of which will be created during the course based on participant feedback. Because a lot of the course is about adapting our intentions and magic to the present moment, it only makes sense that I would adapt some of this course to the people who are in it, especially since this is the first time I'm offering this particular course. Planning for this one actually started like 5 years ago, but I never got around to offering it until now. But previously, I did a Saturn Returns-based course 3 different times, and there are about a dozen people who did that with me. So by the 3rd time I did it, I was able to tweak some things based on how the experience went in the first couple of times. So similarly here, since this is the first time I'm doing this particular one, I will be adapting some of it. Of course, there's a link to the registration page right there if you're ready to go right immediately. But if you want to read on, as I always would, I read the entire page before I do anything like this. The right time for your magic is exactly when you do it. And then I have this kind of example script, something that might be going through your head, something that has happened for me definitely multiple times where I'm like, oh, the ideal time to do this actually would have been like a week ago. And so I'm going to have to wait like a month for that ideal time to come around again. Or if I'm trying to go based on the sign and everything else, I might have to actually wait until next year and I may as well just not do it. But instead, there are ways to adapt what I want to do to the time that is current. It might not always be the perfect or ideal moon phase, zodiac sign, anything, day of the week. It might also just be a really busy time for you personally. So this course is primarily about how to adapt what we want to do to whatever the time is that we actually have to do the thing and when we will actually do the thing. This little section here, this is for you if you love connecting with the moon, and sometimes you feel pressured to do it right and get overwhelmed. You have a busy or unpredictable schedule. Your energy fluctuates, so you can't always do things at the pre-planned time, even if you already planned it. Sometimes you get to that point and it's like, nope, it's just not happening. Setting intentions is a point of confusion or overwhelm. You are more likely to postpone something to wait for a better time, only to never actually go back and get it done. Hi, me. Now, this might apply to any number or flavor of witches, pagans, and other magical practitioners, but I also expect that this resonates for those, diagnosed or not, with ADHD. I'm going to have to edit that. That should say with ADHD or other neurodivergence, executive dysfunction, non-traditional or really hectic schedules, chronic conditions, etc., 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 etc. This is not about saying fuck it to any of the currents of energy going on around us and ignoring them completely. It's about learning what they are so you can step into that flow and meet it where it is at any time and flow with it instead of pushing against it. This course is also for you if you have a decent grasp on your own spellcraft, but you want to know how to adapt it to different times and situations. Doing whatever the books or website says feels impersonal, and you want to develop a more personal connection with the moon cycles for your lifestyle, or you just want to hang out with a small group of other moon-loving spellcrafters. Okay, this is one of my favorite parts of this entire page. I took this photo specifically to put here, and I also love this photo. Did I nail it or what? So I myself am strange and unusual, Lydia Dietz, Beetlejuice. This is like why I came up with this, why I started doing this. I am a neurodivergent, executive function challenged, procrastinator witch. So that's why I've had to come up with some magical accommodations for myself. I really just have to, with everything in my life, my magic or just like anything I have to get done on my to-do list, I really have to go with when I feel the motivation to do it, I have to do that thing. I have to take advantage of that. Obviously, there are times where I absolutely can't, like I'm in the middle of something else that has a particular schedule, so it has to wait. But if I'm just like, I've got some time set aside and I could either edit a video or read this book or organize that thing in my room that's really been needing organization. If I feel like organizing instead of sitting at the desk, I have to go with that. This is kind of the magical equivalent of that for me. Like, sure, I would rather do this at the full moon, but instead it's actually a waning crescent moon, and how can I tweak it to make that make sense? So what's in the course? A series of videos, not live calls. There are no live calls required for this, so you can watch them on your own time. You'll be able to chat with other people in our private community space. You can ask questions and get support from me throughout those entire 3 months. It is a 3-month magical container. After those 3 months, you keep access to the videos to keep using on your own. I will be sharing additional resources, stuff that's like, maybe not the point of the course, but you might want to have that information anyway. I'm going to pop that in the Discord, of course I am. And one of the videos will be based on your real-time questions and feedback from participants in the space. And I talk a little bit more about that and why I'm doing that here. There's another link to register. This part, again, most of you already know who I am, but I put this sort of about me little story about how I started as a preteen witch in the 2000s. Then I started making videos on YouTube. Then I started more formally educating, and I've been teaching for however many years now. So there's a whole thing here. There's links to some other places. And if you want to read so much more about me, check out the About page. Here's this thing again, my witchcraft and my feminism is, all of this. These are things that I strive for. These are things that in my community I strive for. Perfection is an illusion. We mess up. Not on purpose, though, is the hope, the goal, but just like knowing that in doing our best, we do fuck up. And the real magic, the real work is in what we do after we mess up. How do we approach that? How do we repair, and how do we learn to do better? So there's that again. And then we have, let's go over the details. I really love this part. Can I zoom out so you can see this a little better? I know that makes it a little smaller. I just kind of want to see it all at once. There you go. So the details again, 9 videos, 3 months, focusing on different sections of the lunar cycle, our energy cycle. Watch on your own time. There are no scheduled live calls. You'll get 3 videos each month for those 3 months. You can watch them all as soon as I post them, or you can spread them out. There will also be some rituals and suggested practices. So the only time that I've ever like recorded rituals, I've done like a little meditation or a trance thing here and there in a public video, but I'm fairly certain, if I'm not completely forgetting, I have been doing this for 16 years. I don't remember every single thing I've done, but I'm fairly certain that the only times I've like recorded ritual or like recorded myself doing a magical practice, it has been for these courses because it's an online class. I do online ritual all the time. It's just not something that's always recorded for like people to watch asynchronously. And I don't tend to do that here on my channel. It's not something that I like to do. It is a personal thing. Magic is not a spectator sport, is what I like to say. But as part of these courses, there are some rituals in there too. So that's something you can look forward to. Discord, free to use on desktop or mobile. There is an option for live chatting. So if people happen to be online at the same time and want to chat in the video call section in Discord, we can do that. But there are no required live calls that you have to attend for this. So it's mostly asynchronous chatting, getting to know people, asking questions, sharing resources, sharing your aha moments, It's a group learning environment, so you can share, be witnessed, and just, yeah, most of the time, if you're struggling with something, it is not just you. And it's really beneficial to have community around that type of thing. And the timeline, this is scheduled to be over October, November, and December of 2025. So we will be ending around the solstice, and you'll keep access to the videos afterwards, like I said before. So you'll notice stuff is repeated throughout this page, and that is because I fully expect that some folks will be skimming to find the specific information that they want. And then I have, oh my goodness gracious, then I have what some folks have said about my work. Most of these are things that people said to me privately in personal communication, in an email, in a text message, and I have gotten their blessing to share them here. I don't think I want to read any of these out loud right now. I don't think that I'm feel able to do that really. But I spoke to most of these people, if they're not anonymous or have passed away. Actually, I've spoken to that person as well. I received blessings to use these things. So yeah, we've got one of my teachers and mentors in Reclaiming, another friend of mine from online who is also a Reclaiming Witch, and we have a couple of my friends who are also content creators and published authors, one of my Patreon supporters, and a very influential Wiccan elder who, in a personal email over a decade ago, watched a video of mine that I sent to him and told me that I do an excellent job. And that has stuck with me ever since. And when I met him in person, I brought up this email exchange. And even in spirit, he continues to be very present. So I will leave that there. Then we have some FAQs below there. Again, expand to read more. Do I need to know about astrology or magic and spellcraft before doing this course? What if I'm not a beginner? Why 9 moons? So most of the time I find that people conflate the dark moon and the new moon, and astronomically, the dark moon phase is referred to as the new moon, so that makes sense. But in my magic, I work with those as distinct phases, and that's how we end up with 9 instead of just 8. Why no live calls? Why are we doing this now when the world is completely gestures broadly to the situation? Community is so fucking important and so valuable. So I wrote a little bit about that here. And also, what if I don't want to work with a group? I know a lot of people who are very resistant to working in groups of any kind, so I wrote a little bit about that as well. And how big is the group for this course? I mean, that'll depend on how many of you sign up, but my ideal size for this is 8 to 10 participants, plus me. And then we've got more money-specific FAQs about that, a little bit more about how the sliding scale works, and also a note about currency conversion. One of my good friends is in another country, pointed out that the currency conversion makes things really expensive in their currency. So I have a note about that here if that applies to you. And then here we have another repetition of my little description. It's a 3-month supported video course, and I love this section that I came up with. You can look forward to, and I'm looking forward to. You can look forward to a series of videos, not live calls, that you watch on your own time, chatting with others in our private community space, asking questions and getting support from me throughout, a 3-month magical container for active community. I would love for people to be active in the space. That doesn't mean every single day, but pop in and talk with us in there, tell us how you're doing, ask questions if you have any, or just let us know how it's going. And additional resources shared in the community space. And I'm looking forward to geeking out about our moon and all of her phases and ours, sharing photos and resources and rituals, helping you workshop some intentions for your personal magic, holding space for magic in online community, which is so important for accessibility, and getting to know a small group of folks in a more closely held container. Registration is open now. The plan is to start in October of 2025, so you still have a few weeks from when this video is going to be posted, or a couple weeks. Yeah, a couple weeks. Up to that first weekend of October is the plan, and we'll go from there. So that has been a tour of my new website, and also a little bit more specifically about the 9 Moons course that I'm so excited to get back to. This is the first time that I have done an online course like this in about 6 years. That's the last time I did the Saturn Returns course. And at that time, I had asked people if they would be interested in a course around working with the moon, and 24 people said that they would be interested. And then it took me 5 years to get it done. The world is in a very different place. I think we're all in very different places, but I am very excited for any folks who are still around who were interested in that, who can join this time to finally bring that idea into reality. And once we do it once, we will do it again. So I am planning on offering this again in the future. It'll be a little bit different then. And yeah, so I do also just want to say, don't put questions about this in the comments because I won't necessarily see those right away. There are links on the page for if you're interested in registering. If you go to that registration page, it gives you more information and tells you where to contact me. So just briefly, I'll show you the top part of it. If you go to the registration page, it has more info about the different payment options and how that works. It's through my Ko-fi. And then if you go further down, there's info on how to reach out to talk to me about setting up monthly payment plans and stuff like that. So the comments section of the video is not the place for questions, just because I will not be likely to see those in any sort of timely manner. But without further ado, I will let you go look at the website on your own time. Thanks so much for watching and or listening to this video, letting me tell you a bit about what's on the page. I will see you next time. And until then, don't forget to be awesome, blessed be, and goodbye.